I ain't gonna expose. I'm not like that. I'm not a snitch. Virginity. It's a hush topic.
Yeah. They love me.
Let's see if your parents raised you.
It's deeper than the physical.
What up, fam? Welcome back to the Juxtaposition, everyone. Welcome back to the Juxtaposition. I'm your host, Nana, and I'm back alongside my two lovely co-hosts,
Bernice
And Janet.
And today, we got a guest, here with us. Coming here to just join our conversation, we work with her. She's an amazing woman. Sorry.
Oh, God.
Sorry.
I think your interjection is okay.
It's not working
Interjection. So can you please tell the people who you are and what's your name and speak into the mic, ma'am?
Okay. So I'm Racheal. I'm Racheal. I was born in Uganda, raised in Kenya, and now I'm here. Been here for almost 6 years. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't know
I
that.
thought
I feel like you're like,
Wait, say that again.
a couple years.
Born in Uganda, but then raised in Kenya, and then I've been here for the past 6 years.
But why born in Uganda and why raised in Kenya?
Okay.
What was that about?
Well, my dad just got a job in Kenya, so we all moved. Yeah.
So do you know the language a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit. But there's like a bunch of languages, but the main language, Swahili, I do know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Could you give us a few words?
Say like hi.
Say hello.
Yeah.
Say hi.
Hi, my name is Racheal.
Say hi, Nana.
No, why is that the name? Nana, just...
The common greeting sometimes can be jambo or mambo, or I guess if I was like saying, are you guys doing good? Because I don't think there's something like, how are you? There's are you good? Which would be mukopoa.
Mukopoa.
Yeah.
Are you good?
New languages out in these streets here. Come on. All right. So how did you grow up? Like when you grew up, how was your growing up and how did you
How's your growing up?
Yeah.
How's your growing up?
How's your growing up?
Leave her alone.
Leave me alone.
How was your childhood? That's what she's trying. I'm translating.
In what sense? Like when you...
Like what are your favorite moments? What do you remember? Where did you grow up? What was your favorite moments?
And how was the environment, the atmosphere? How was that?
Hey, this is like 5 questions.
Sorry, I'm sorry. My bad.
Choose which ones you want to answer.
Okay. Well, okay, how was my childhood? Interesting question. It was fairly regular, minus like a few traumatic incidences.
Oh my gosh. Laugh at my pain. You're laughing at your pain. I like that though. It's okay.
Overcome it.
That's how you call.
Me too. I do the same. Yeah.
But no, I think it was fairly regular. I don't know. I guess moving between the two countries, even though they were pretty similar, there was a season where it was like, I want to fit in, this is a new country, and we moved when I was in high school, like just getting into high school. So I was like, new country, new school, new people. So I did go through a little like rebel, but I was only a rebel at school. Like I was like, I'm not trying to bring that home.
Not gonna do that.
But in terms of my childhood, I grew up around my family, like extended family, immediate family for the most part, especially when we were in Uganda. Mm-hmm. When we moved to Kenya, and it was just the 4 of us. That's my family, and it was different because it's like, okay, like we're not as surrounded with everyone, but we did go often. Yeah. But I don't know, it just brought us really close, and my sister is one of my best friends, I guess I would say, if you're watching this.
Hey Rebecca, hey girl.
You want to shout out right now? Shout out.
Yeah. So I'm going to take this opportunity.
No, do it.
Oh, it's fine. I'm going to shout out my sister, my mother, my father.
Mama, I made it.
Everyone in the whole team, we made it.
That's awesome. Well, so we're going to dive in a little bit to like our mental health and how we cope and stuff like that, because I know we definitely in this world, in our Western world, there's lots to deal with, lots of stress that's happening, and mental wellness has been like a focus for the past couple months. I think like November is like the month of awareness. I think for mental health, there's different months. So. Let's just know that.
Multiple.
But like I think November is one of them. So like we're just gonna go into like your experience with mental health, and we'll share, you'll share, and then just talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
Sorry. You can go ahead and share first, and then
I get what you're saying now. Okay, but okay, before we get into it, couple of disclaimers. I think as we get into like talking about mental health, obviously it's different for different people, and so when we talk about stuff, it's like I don't want someone to be like, oh well, mine is somewhat different, I can't relate, or I don't know, like it's like we're not talking about every single mental health issue that's there, because like we can only talk so much about what we a little bit understand.
Right.
But yeah, okay, my mental health journey. Well, the first time that I struggled with mental health, at least to my knowledge, maybe I did struggle with it in the past, and because even now when I look back, I'm like, maybe
it was or it wasn't.
You know? But I would say it was my first year of university. That was the first time. That was 2015. I just moved to Canada. First year of university. I mean, university is stressful here and there. But yeah, I just noticed I was sad all the time. Like it started off a little bit in the fall semester towards the end. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm probably stressed out about school. Like, you know, everyone's been there, everyone's there towards the exams. And then when Christmas came, winter came, and I was just like, wow, I just feel really bad. I feel sad all the time. I'm walking to my classes and I'm crying. I'm like, nothing happened. I promise you. But I was just sad. I was like, okay, I don't understand what's going on. And I guess like growing up in Kenya, growing up in Uganda, we don't talk about mental health. Well, I don't know if it's changed since I left. I don't think so though. But so I was just like, what is wrong with me? Like, am I crazy? Like, what is going on? I was taking psychology though in first year, like psychology 101.
Psychology. Oh, those days.
And I was just like, I mean, it sounds kind of similar to what we were, you know, but I was just like, maybe I'm making it up. Maybe I'm just going crazy and all that. But then it just got really bad. Like I was really struggling with thoughts of suicide, thoughts of, like self-harm, I guess. But so that's when I was like, okay, maybe this is serious. Maybe I should talk to someone. And so I did start reaching out to. And I didn't know that many people. So it's like, okay, but who do I even reach out to? Like, how do I even explain that I just feel sad and nothing particularly has happened? So yeah, like I did have a few people in my life, thankfully, that I could reach out to, and they recommended school therapists or something like that, which helped for a time. And then we'll probably expand on it later on, but yeah, like even later on in my life. So that was like 2015. Then 2016, I'm good, I'm pretty chill, living my best life. 2017, pretty similar. Then we get into, I don't know if it was 2018. Yes, 2018. Things kind of start. I'm like, okay, I'm noticing similar things as before. I kind of already know somewhat of what this is, so I'm like, okay, I think it's back. She's back in the room. What can I do? And so at that time, though, it was pretty. I would say it was bad, even though I had dealt with it before and like had seen therapists and stuff like that. Like a lot of things came up. Again, trauma. Yay. Like I was struggling a lot. I was, again, this time. Even in the first time I struggled with it, I did attempt suicide, I guess I would say, but this time it was just way worse, and it lasted all the way till maybe just at the beginning of the pandemic, like 2020. So that was like a bigger chunk compared to before, and I was just like, yo, I'm never gonna get better, everything sucks, like, God, you're not here, you hate me, you don't care, like all these things. Like it was not just mental health struggles, it was like, I'm struggling with my faith, and now, so it was just a lot going on. And I feel like it was one of those things where I'm like, I'm still navigating how to even talk about this, who to talk about this with, and coming from a culture where it's like, why are you crying? Is anyone dead? Like, get over it. Like, you need to toughen up, kind of thing. So it's like, okay, well, no one's dead. I'm just sad. But like, who do, like, and just getting comments even from people close to me, like in my family, or extended family or whatever, where it's like, oh, but like, are you praying? Or are you reading your Bible? Or you just need to have faith? Or you just maybe you don't want to get better. And I'm just like, I mean,
yeah.
Jesus in therapy.
how do I? Yeah, so it's just crazy. Because if you think about it, if someone came up to you and is like, oh, yeah, like I have a toothache, it's just really bad, you're not going to be like, oh, like, have you read the Bible?
Yeah.
Because
Have you blessed the tooth?
Jesus who heals.
He said, bless the tooth, and it'll be better. Instead of going to a doctor and seeking help.
Right? It's like, okay,
Yeah.
well, I know this dentist by, skill or whatever, but it's like, when it comes to mental health, it's like, oh, well, have you read your Bible and are you praying? It's like, yeah, and just still feel the same.
Yeah.
So,
I want to pick on you a little bit.
okay, yeah.
Where do you think, or what do you think the root of your problem was? Why did it always come up? Why you felt the certain way
Sadness,
you felt?
Yeah.
You know, where was the root of it?
Wow, that's a good question. I mean, definitely what I'm still trying to process through that, but I would say definitely just trauma, different things that I experienced in my life growing up, and just I don't know if you want me to expound on that.
If you want to, but it's up to you.
If you don't want to,
Yeah,
it's okay.
yeah.
It's
No,
okay.
It's just a few a quick overview, like maybe like abuse in my childhood, or things like that, where it's just like, okay, like I don't know how to see good in life. I don't know how to see, because people will say stuff like, oh, God is working things out for your good, or like all things work together, and I'm just like,
Where?
where all things,
Yeah.
like,
Even
and
the
just
bad,
like
yeah.
wrestling. I think it was just like a period of wrestling with life, where it's like, okay, well, I've experienced a lot of brokenness. I've seen a lot of brokenness in my life, and been betrayed by people that I trust and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, how is this good? And I guess maybe it was also like maybe it was also spiritual too. I would say, like, not. That can be pretty sensitive when you like mental health and like, it's a spiritual thing. But I really think in some ways it was because, like I was definitely even wrestling with my faith and struggling with my faith, and that kind of contributes to it, because it's like, like, I don't even know how to trust you, God, and so now like everything bad that's happening is just way more magnified, because I'm like, okay, on top of it not being good, like I think God hates me and blah blah blah. So it was a lot. It's hard to pinpoint like one thing that was the root of the issue.
You're probably frustrated at God a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you want to share your story since you were going to share?
Yeah. I think I feel like, as you were saying, a disclaimer in the beginning of like, not everyone's mental health is the same.
Yeah, nobody's story is
Like,
the
no
same.
one's story is the same. So mine is a little bit about like, just before the pandemic, I had like severe anxiety. Let's just say that. And like, so in the beginning, it came off as like my chest was hurting, but it was like a chest thing. So I went to the doctor. He said, okay, it's this. Then I went back. I said, my chest is still hurting. I don't understand. He's like, oh yeah, well, I mean, like, I touched it. This is what you're diagnosed with.
Yeah.
Take ibuprofen. Take Advil. I said, okay, fine. Let me take Advil. I go back home. I still feel like I can't breathe. Like I can't catch my breath. I can't just, relax. And then it just got worse and worse and worse. And I was like, okay, I think I need to go to the hospital. So I go to the hospital, and that was where my anxiety went through the roof. Like, just knowing that first I was in fear of just the pandemic itself, and like the news of just it hitting was like a big thing for me. So me going into the hospital where literally they're caring for people, they're wearing masked up, they have like shields and all that stuff, it was like a high anxiety prone for me. So I go in, I get checked, I do a CT, I go through all this stuff, and I'm just like, what is happening right now? Like, and then I go into like thinking like I'm sick, like something's wrong, like,
Your
and then the
mind
doctor's
playing
like,
tricks
oh,
on you.
your numbers are not looking good, we need to do an extra test. And I'm like, oh gosh, here we go, like,
then that
come on.
increases
And
the
it increases my
anxiety,
anxiety, and I'm like, oh goodness. So I had to check that. Then I had to wait for hours, and then they didn't even let people come in. So I was literally by myself with a room of people that I didn't know, right? And I think the only thing that made me feel better was the nurses who were like with me, like who did like drew my blood and like all that stuff. Like they really made me feel calm, but I still felt shout out to the nurses out there. So yeah, and then I came back home and like nothing was wrong, but I still felt anxiety. I still felt like worry, and that was definitely caused by the pandemic for sure. Like I feel like a lot of people did deal with high anxiety, and mental illness has definitely taken a rise during that the first 2 years or just the beginning. And then so even then I was struggling with my faith too, because I wasn't as strong in it at that point, and I was like, God doesn't care about me, like he doesn't want me to get healed. Like I don't think he understands the pain I'm going through. Like I feel like I physically can't catch my breath. So like and then sometimes, like my family, as you were saying, didn't hint, nudge.
Family.
They didn't take it seriously. They looked at me like, I think I said to my dad one day, I said, what you're watching on CNN, it kind of makes me feel like I have like you're making me, it's giving me more anxiety. Can you not watch that? What do you mean? It's okay. What do you mean? Just don't watch it. It's fine. I mean, it's just a pandemic. We'll get through it, and it's fine. And I'm like, but you don't understand what I'm feeling. Like, I physically cannot function. There were times, like, even I was during school, I was like, I can't write this essay because I physically can't write this essay. So, like, it was just super bad until, like, I reached out for help, of course, and it got better. And I reached out to my pastor and stuff like